Dear students, my name is Kate Fitzpatrick, and I serve as the Associate Dean for Undergraduate Academic Affairs and Associate Professor of Music Education at the SMTD. I am joined today by Caitlin Taylor, Program Manager in the School of Music, Theater, and Dance Office for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. This recording will serve as an overview of the 2021 DEI Climate Survey for undergraduate students. The School of Music, Theater, and Dance is committed to furthering the university's mission of ensuring that each member of our community has an equal opportunity to thrive and to take full advantage of the resources afforded by the University of Michigan. SMTD fully embraces the notion that academic and artistic excellence is inseparable from an abiding and pervasive institutional commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. This presentation will review the results of the climate survey for undergraduate students at SMTD. Though this is specific to undergraduates, we welcome anyone in the SMTD community to watch and respond to the survey results.
If you have questions about the student climate survey, please contact the SMTD Office for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at smtd-dei-office@umich.edu. With that, let's move to the presentation outline. First, we'll review the background and purpose of the climate survey, then review method and design, followed by some of the key indicators. At the end of the presentation, I will share information on ordering supplemental materials. Starting on October 28th, 2021, the university launched a DEI climate survey. This survey was designed to assess perspectives, opinions, and experiences related to diversity, equity, and inclusion at the university from the UM community of students, faculty, and staff on the Ann Arbor campus. This survey was a follow-up to those conducted in 2016 and 2017 and will allow us to understand how climate has changed in the past 5 years. The goal was to take the temperature of campus and evaluate other changes that have been made. At the top of each report, there is a helpful guide for reading and reviewing report materials. For every measure, the report contains greater detail on the presentation of the prompt or the question, the answer set, and differences in question format by respondent type. When looking at students, surveys were adjusted for undergraduate and graduate student populations. When asked about questions, undergraduate students were asked to think about the University of Michigan overall. A sample study was deployed to better specify takeaways for UM overall and for longitudinal statistical comparisons. Unit report data includes unit level change metrics, acknowledging limitations of direct or longitudinal comparisons, including slight changes in the questionnaire, data collection, and survey administration, structural changes that could have occurred at U of M, unique environmental influences, including the 2016 presidential election and the COVID-19 pandemic, and the statistical weighing of the unit level data. An independent contractor was used for the data collection efforts, and every step was taken to preserve confidentiality of participants. SoundRocket provided a firewall between respondents' identities and their responses. In some instances, data suppression occurred to reduce the likelihood of perceived disclosure by participants. At the unit level, this occurred when a unit report that had been generated for any unit had fewer than 10 completed responses, and the demographic data suppression could have occurred when any cell within the demographic data tables representing fewer than 15 responses. General cell suppression could have occurred when any cell in the remainder of the report had fewer than 5 responses. And 2017 to 2021 comparison suppression could have occurred if the 2017 data qualified for suppression. As a starting point for the report, we'll look at the response rates for undergraduate students at the University of Michigan. At U of M overall, 32,261 undergraduate students were invited and eligible to participate in the climate survey, and there were almost 4,000 responses for a 14% response rate overall. in the School of Music, Theater, and Dance. Of the 868 eligible undergraduate students, 79 completed the survey for a response rate of 11.2%. The survey included demographic questions, and the following represents the respondents for the SMTD undergraduate student survey. The average age of respondents was 19.9, and of the respondents, 48.9% were women and 44.6% were men. 27.7% of respondents are members of the LGBTQIA+ community, and 72.3% of respondents were heterosexual. Continuing the demographics, 58.7% of respondents were white, and 16.3% of respondents were Asian American, Asian, or Pacific Islander. Race and ethnicity was asked as a select all that apply question. And finally, to close out the demographics, 58.7% of respondents were white, and 41.3% of respondents were BIPOC. The next few slides will address satisfaction with climate and environment as described by the undergraduate participants. Overall, 14.6% were very dissatisfied or dissatisfied, 32.6% felt neutral, and 52.8% were satisfied or very satisfied. Women respondents were more satisfied than men, and white respondents were slightly more satisfied than BIPOC respondents. The numbers in the parentheses indicate change in percentage when compared with the 2017 climate survey. This graphic details satisfaction with climate and environment by race and ethnicity. This is a reminder that this is only indicated information from the respondents. 53.8% of white respondents were satisfied or very satisfied, and 32.7% were neutral. 60% of Asian American and Asian respondents indicated that they were satisfied or very satisfied. 50% of respondents who were more than one race were satisfied or very satisfied. The next area we will examine are general climate and specific DEI factors, including climate indicators. When looking at factor 1, which is the general climate, SMTD undergraduate students rated climate as a 3.7 out of 5. Women and REN both rated climate at 3.7. BIPOC respondents rated the general climate lower than white respondents. Factor 2, which is the DEI climate, was rated a 3.8 out of 5 by SMTD undergraduate students. Men rated climate higher than women on the 5-point scale, and BIPOC rated DEI climate 3.7 out of 5, compared with white respondents who rated DEI climate a 3.9 out of 5. When examining climate and DEI climate by race and ethnicity, we see that white respondents rated general climate 3.8 and DEI climate 3.9. African American and Black respondents rated general climate at 3.1 and DEI climate at 3.3. Asian American and Asian respondents rated the general climate at 3.9 and the DEI climate at 3.8. Respondents of more than one race rated general climate at 3.7 and DEI climate at 3.9. Again, all of these ratings reflect a 5-point scale. And with that, I'll invite Associate Dean Fitzpatrick to review climate dimensions.
Participants were asked to reflect on several sets of opposing climate-related dimensions. Pairs of adjectives are shown as endpoints on a scale, and participants selected a rating between each adjective. The scale allows for up to 5 points between each pair of adjectives. SMTD undergraduate students rated SMTD as friendly, respectful, collegial, collaborative, supportive, and welcoming. On a 5-point scale, all of these factors were rated 3.5 out of 5 or above. Undergraduate students did indicate that SMTD was somewhat competitive at 3.0 out of 5. Participants were also asked about additional climate dimensions and indicated that SMTD was non-racist, diverse, non-sexist, non-homophobic, non-transphobic, and non-ageist. On a 5-point scale, all of these factors were rated 3.4 out of 5 or above.
The upcoming slides deal with respondents' feelings about belonging at SMTD, opportunities at SMTD, and feelings of discrimination. Respondents were asked to report on a 5-point scale regarding belonging and opportunities, and to answer yes or no about feeling discriminated against. For many of the questions, participants were asked to consider culture at large. 56% of SMTD undergraduate students feel valued as an individual at and 73.2% feel that they belong at More men feel valued and feel that they belong than women, and more white respondents feel valued and feel that they belong than BIPOC respondents. 56.6% of SMTD undergraduate students feel that has a strong commitment to DEI. 55.6% of men, 63.4% of women, 56.2% of white respondents, and 57.1% of BIPOC respondents feel has a strong commitment to DEI. When examining this question by race and ethnicity, 62.5% of African American and Black respondents feel valued as an individual at compared to 62.5% of Asian American and Asian respondents, 53.1% of white respondents, and 55.6% of respondents of more than one race. 75% of white participants feel that they belong at compared to 62.5% of African American and Black participants, 57.1% of Asian American and Asian participants, and 88.9% of participants who are more than one race. 66.7% of Asian American and Asian respondents and 56.2% of white respondents feel that has a strong commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Participants were asked about their perception of being able to reach their full potential, again, utilizing a 5-point scale. 75.3% of SMTD undergraduate students feel that is a place that they are able to perform to their full potential. Slightly fewer men, 71.1% agree, and slightly more women, 81% agree. Less BIPOC respondents agree than white respondents. 81.4% of SMTD undergraduate students feel that they have opportunities at for academic success that is similar to that of their peers. More white respondents agree than BIPOC respondents, and more men agree than women. And finally, 81.7% of SMTD undergraduate students feel that their experience at has had a positive impact on their academic growth. 82.1% of men, 82.9% of women, 79.2% of white respondents, and 85.3% of BIPOC respondents agree. When looking at race and ethnicity, 78.4% of white respondents, 71.4% of Asian American and Asian respondents, and 88.9% of respondents who are more than one race feel that is a place that they can perform to their full potential. 87.5% of African American and Black respondents, 82.4% of white respondents, 66.7% of Asian American and Asian respondents, and 100% of respondents who are more than one race feel that they have opportunities at that are similar to that of their peers. 79.2% of white respondents, 87.5% of African American and Black respondents, 78.6% of Asian American and Asian respondents, and 88.9% of respondents who are more than one race feel that has had a positive influence on their academic growth. When considering discrimination, experiences, and perceptions, 21.4% of SMTD undergraduate students felt discriminated against in the past 12 months. 13.9% of men and 23.8% of women felt discriminated against. 20.8% of white participants and 22.2% of BIPOC participants felt discriminated against in the last 12 months at And finally, 20.8% of white respondents felt discriminated against in the last 12 months at UM. The final portion of this presentation will review DEI progress, engagement, and satisfaction with DEI progress, and other measures of progress since the 2017 climate survey. All of these categories are framed around the past 12 months. 33.3% of SMTD undergraduate students attended a DEI-related training or workshop session. 43.7% of SMTD undergraduate students attended a DEI-related talk or seminar. 26.4% of SMTD undergraduate students attended a DEI-related event in SMTD. 25.3% of SMTD undergraduate students attended a DEI-related event at the level. 73.6% of SMTD undergraduate students had a DEI-related conversation with a peer or colleague. Overall, women attended more DEI events inside of SMTD, whereas men attended more DEI-related trainings and events across More BIPOC participants attended DEI-related events than white participants. When examining DEI engagement by race and ethnicity, 41.2% of white respondents, 75% of African American and Black respondents, and 33.3% of Asian American and Asian respondents attended a DEI-related talk or seminar. 100% of African American and Black respondents, 76.5% of white respondents, and 60% of Asian American and Asian respondents, and finally 55.6% of respondents who are more than one race, have had a DEI-related conversation with a colleague or peer. Again, all of these questions were framed around the past 12 months. The next data point we'll review is about satisfaction with DEI progress. Among all of UM's undergraduate students, 53.9% are neutral about progress, and 32.3% are satisfied or very satisfied with progress. These numbers are somewhat similar to those in SMTD undergraduate students, where 63.5% indicated that they feel neutral, and 23.5% are satisfied or very satisfied with progress. Again, across many groups, including men, women, white respondents, and BIPOC respondents, most indicated they felt neutral or satisfied, very satisfied with DEI progress. When looking at DEI progress detailed by race and ethnicity, 15.7% of white respondents felt very dissatisfied or dissatisfied with DEI progress. 87.5% of African American and Black respondents felt neutral about DEI progress, compared to 66.7% of respondents who are more than one race, 64.7% of white respondents, and 46.2% of Asian American and Asian respondents. 19.6% of white respondents felt satisfied or very satisfied with DEI progress, compared with 38.5% of Asian American and Asian respondents. Respondents were also asked to compare DEI progress to before the 2016 strategic plan. 40.3% of SMTD undergraduates felt progress was about the same, and 50.9% felt progress was much better or somewhat better. Across men, women, white respondents, and BIPOC respondents, most felt about the same or much better, somewhat better about DEI progress. When looking at race and ethnicity, 71.4% of Asian American and Asian respondents felt DEI progress was about the same. 56.2% of white respondents indicated they believed DEI progress was much better or somewhat better. The final category we will examine is comparing SMTD to other University of Michigan units. Across all undergraduate students, 12.1% of respondents felt that their unit was among the very worst or worse than most. 44.4% felt that their unit was about equal to other units, and 43.5% felt that their unit was among the best or better than most when compared to other units. Within SMTD undergraduate students, 20.6% felt that SMTD was among the very worst or worse than other units. 44.1% of SMTD undergraduates felt that SMTD was about equal to other units, and 35.3% of SMTD undergraduates felt that SMTD was among the very best or better than most when compared to other units. 53.3% of men felt SMTD was among the very best or better than other units. 57.9% of women felt SMTD was about equal to other units. 31.2% of white respondents felt that SMTD was among the very worst or worse than other units. 61.1% of BIPOC respondents felt SMTD was about equal to other units. When looking at race and ethnicity, 31.2% of white respondents indicated they believe SMTD is among the very worst or worse than most units. 43.8% of white respondents indicated that they believe that SMTD is among the very best or better than most units. We've completed the overview of the climate survey specific to SMTD undergraduate students. If you would like, you are able to order a supplemental report of the climate survey. Reports must be ordered at a minimum of 10, and the fee will vary based on the number of reports ordered. All orders can be placed through DEI. Thank you for your time and for watching this presentation. With that, I will turn things back over to Associate Dean Fitzpatrick to close this session.
Thank you for watching this presentation about the results of the 2021 climate survey. This important information will inform and impact the planning process for the future of diversity, equity, and inclusion, both at SMTD and at U of M. If you have questions, please contact the SMTD Office for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at smtd-dei-office@umich.edu. Thank you.